I know that sometimes when we're looking to make changes in our lives, whether it is in the area of fitness or our nutrition habits or any other kind of goal that we've set for ourselves, we often feel like we need to make these sweeping changes. We need to completely overhaul our lives. We need to make these massive transformations in order to be successful. But I'm here to tell you that that's not actually true. The journey of transformation isn't about those grand, sweeping changes. It's about the quiet, consistent decisions that you make every single day. And that 8-minute workout, it might seem laughable, right? You might be thinking, 8 minutes? How is that supposed to make a difference? But let me tell you, there is immense power in those 8 minutes. It's not about the physical movement itself in those 8 minutes. Sure, that's important, getting some physical activity, moving your body. But it's more than that. It's about the mental shift, the belief that you are someone who follows through, someone who keeps promises to themselves. Because when you commit to that 8-minute workout and you do it day after day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you're building something incredibly powerful inside of you, which is trust. Trust in yourself. You know how sometimes people say, I can't trust myself to follow through on my goals, to stick to a diet, to work out consistently? Well, here's how you change that narrative. By showing yourself that you can be trusted. And that starts with something small, like an 8-minute workout. When you prove to yourself day after day that you can show up, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you start to trust yourself in a way you never have before. And that trust is the foundation of real change. Because once you believe you're the kind of person who follows through, everything else becomes easier. You don't have to fight against your own self-doubt anymore. Instead, you start building confidence, not just in your ability to exercise, but in your ability to stick to commitments, to push through discomfort, and to create the life you want. And here's the beautiful thing about it. Momentum builds on itself. Those 8 minutes might feel small at first, but they create a ripple effect. Maybe after a week, you find yourself choosing an apple over a bag of chips. Not because you're forcing yourself, not because you're feeling deprived, but because you're starting to see yourself as someone who fuels their body well. Maybe after 2 weeks, you find yourself walking an extra minute. Maybe you were going to walk for 15 minutes, but you end up walking for 20 minutes because you realize, you know what? I can do a little bit more. I've got a little extra time. Why not use it? Maybe after a month, you find yourself no longer dreading the gym, but actually looking forward to it. Almost like, some people look forward to their morning coffee. You start looking forward to your workouts. And that's the magic of it. This is how real, lasting change happens. Not through sheer willpower, but through identity. You're not just doing healthy things, you're becoming a healthy person. And when that shift happens, the old struggles, the old patterns, they start to fade away. They don't disappear overnight, but they lose their grip on you because you've built something stronger. A version of yourself who doesn't give up, who shows up even when it's hard, who pushes through when it gets tough. So many times we feel like we need to make these drastic changes in our lives, these sweeping transformations in order to be successful. We think, ooh, if I can just cut out all the bad stuff, all the things I'm not supposed to eat, all the things I shouldn't be doing, if I can just cut them out completely, then I'll be successful. Or if I can just go all in, if I can just do everything perfectly from Monday to Sunday, then I'll be successful. But that's not how it works. There are gonna be ups and downs. There are gonna be challenges. Life happens. Things come up. You get busy. You have that deadline at work. You have that project you're working on. Your schedule gets hectic. And then all of a sudden you're skipping meals. You're grabbing fast food. You're sitting all day. And then you feel guilty, so you beat yourself up. You stress about it, and then you just end up falling back into the same patterns, going backwards. Instead, what if we shifted our mindset? What if we said, okay, I am not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for progress. What if we aimed for progress, not perfection? What if we said, okay, I'm not gonna strive for this perfect plan where I'm hitting the gym 5 days a week. I'm eating perfectly. I'm getting 8 hours of sleep every single night. No, instead, what if we said, okay, I'm gonna start with 8 minutes. Just 8 minutes of movement, and we did that every single day for a week. And after a week, we'll look back and say, okay, what did I accomplish? I accomplished 8 minutes a day, 7 days a week. That's a win. And then we build on that momentum. And when you take this approach, when you aim for progress, not perfection, you take the pressure off yourself. You allow yourself to be human, to make mistakes, to stumble, to fall, to get back up and to keep going. And it makes it so much easier to stick to your goals, to stay motivated, to stay committed. One of the biggest problems we face when we trying to make changes in our lives is that we often set ourselves up for failure by setting unrealistic goals. We set these big, sweeping goals that we think will transform our lives. But we don't break them down into smaller, actionable steps. We just think, oh, I am gone. Nah, wake up early. And I am gone now. Meditate for 30 minutes and I am gone now. Work out. And I am gone now. Eat healthy and I am gone now. Do all these things. But guess what? Most of us don't do that. Most of us struggle to stick to those big, sweeping goals because they're overwhelming. They're hard to maintain. They're difficult to follow through on. But if we break them down into smaller steps, if we set realistic goals, if we say, okay, I'm gonna start with 8 minutes. I'm gonna start with just one meal that I'm gonna make healthier. Then I'm gonna cook at home. Then I'm gonna choose wisely. Then we give ourselves a better chance of success. When we set realistic goals, we take the overwhelm out of the equation. We make it easier to follow through. We make it easier to stay motivated. And the beauty of it is when you start with just 8 minutes, when you start with just one meal, that one meal becomes a pattern. You start seeing yourself as someone who cooks their own food. You start seeing yourself as someone who chooses wisely what they put into their body. And then that motivates you to do more. You start taking small steps towards your larger goal, but you don't feel overwhelmed by it. You don't feel defeated by it. You feel empowered. You feel motivated. You feel inspired. And that's the magic of starting small. If you're feeling stuck right now, like no matter what you try, nothing changes. Remember this? You don't have to overhaul your life in a day. You just have to start with 8 minutes. Then do it again tomorrow. And the next day and the day after that. If you're feeling demotivated, if you're feeling like, I can't do this, I'm too far gone, I've made too many mistakes, stop. Just stop and think. You know what? I'm gonna start with 8 minutes. And if that 8 minutes turns into 9 minutes, well, that's a bonus. So the next time you're feeling like giving up, the next time you're feeling like it's too hard, the next time you're feeling like you've made too many mistakes, remember, you don't have to do everything. You just have to do one thing. You just have to show up for yourself no matter what. And that one thing, that one small step can change everything.